Non-material world. A glance at the 10,000-year world. Xiefeng. February 7, 2008, Chinese New Year's Eve. The misty waves extending into the distance, the blue waves stretching boundlessly, the clouds displaying 10,000 postures, and the thousands of sandy islets flush with color, these are the abundant scenes of the vast Sangting Sea, dreamlike and illusory with its silver sandy beach clean and wide, winding and stretching. The Moyen Mountains tower against the sea, with overlapping peaks and endless stretches. Its main peak, Tongtian Peak, is 90,000 meters above sea level, tall and steep, majestic above the clouds. On the top of the peak, there is a sky-gazing cliff with a wide and flat ridge, about 2,000 square meters. Standing on the sky-gazing cliff, you have a wide field of vision, looking up, observing the sun, moon and stars, witnessing the position changing of the stars. Looking down, you can see the sea of clouds and surging billows, the beautiful mountains and rivers. Looking far into the distance, the haze is gorgeous, magnificent and boundless, and you feel soothed and relaxed. Looking closely, the mountains are verdant with layers of emerald green, the silver waterfalls are flying and gurgling, and make people feel refreshing. The sky-gazing cliff is the most famous scenic spot in the 10,000-year world. Celestials with profound cultivation bases often fly here to absorb the essence of heaven and earth. They cultivate their sentiments, discuss sutra and Tao, and learn from others' strong points. Of the 100 million celestials in the 10,000-year world, only 8,000 of them can reach this place, the rest all cannot. Why? Because to get here you must rely on flying, and climbing is impossible, because there are no branches to climb and no roads to go. Celestials who arrive in the 10,000-year world for the first time do not have the ability to fly and must walk on the ground. Only after about 10,000 years of self-improvement can they fly 3 feet above the ground, and only after 20,000 years of self-cultivation can they fly above the lofty mountains and high ranges. To fly at an altitude of 80,000 meters requires 30,000 years of self-cultivation. Zigui, Danjing, Biao, Xiaoxia, Hanliang, Sangqing, Ishi, and Qiantong are the 8 celestials who reside in Fengming Ridge of the Hualing Mountains. The ridge is 30,000 kilometers away from Tongtian Peak. Today, all 8 celestials have cultivated their ability to fly up to 80,000 meters high. They exchanged smiles and then they soared into the sky, gradually rising to 10,000 meters in the air. They then flew along the Hualing Mountains. The mountains slid away behind them, and the winding rivers disappeared one by one, layers and lumps of clouds and mists receded one after another. The feeling of flying is so wonderful and comfortable, breaking through the 3-dimensional time and space and entering the 4-dimensional time and space feels like breaking free from a cage and being free and graceful. Words fail to capture the experience. Zigui exclaimed, 10,000 years within the cocoon, transforming flesh and bone, and once emerged as a butterfly soaring high. Without the connection with the divine, akin to double wings, how could we ride the rainbow today? Biao echoed, after countless body training sessions, my spirit becomes awakened. Through spiritual cultivation, I am able to absorb invisible energy. Embryonic breathing is activated, revealing itself as a mystical power bestowed by the greatest creator. Han Liang also felt an urge and said, for 30,000 years of building the foundation, refining the essence, transforming qi and the spirit, perfecting the structure to be in one with the Tao, begin realizing how profound Tao is. After flying for about 10,000 kilometers, the Hualing Mountains finally vanished behind them, and an endless vast grassland lay ahead. This is the most famous Marj Sangqin grassland in the 10,000-year world. Here, horses gallop, herds of deer relax, antelopes frisk, bison gallop, zebras play, camels lie idly, goshawks circle vigorously, gulls spread their wings freely, cranes and storks pose grandly, skylarks sing and dance, trumpet vines bloom all over the field, and meadow lilies dot the landscape like stars. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet blend together, resembling colorful pearls embedded in the green grassland. The blue sky, clean air, gentle breeze, and warm sunshine create a poetic and vibrant scene. Danjing was so happy she lost track of time. She let go of her voice and sang, "Beautiful March Sangqin, you are the garden of life, you are like a charming fairy, make me look forward to for so long, wandering on your vast chest, bathed in the flowery scenery of love, I want to throw myself into your arms and suck the fragrance of your tenderness to my heart's content." Listening to the song of Danjing, everyone couldn't help but land on the grassland. The four female celestials Zigue, Biao, Xiaoxia, and Ishi danced a rainbow dance on the green grass. The four female celestials are all about 1.76 meters tall, neither fat nor thin, with faces like peach blossoms, eyebrows like crescent moons, bright eyes and white teeth, cherry-red lips, black hair like flowing clouds, heart-shaped chins, ruddy skin, long arms and legs, high breasts, waists like weeping willows, plump buttocks, and beautiful and curvy figures. While glancing, their eyes convey emotions and captivate the soul, while dancing, they are exceedingly charming and enchanting. Their supple bodies are like tender willow branches in spring, their tenderness flows like waterfalls. They are over 30,000 years old but look like young girls in love, with profound Taoist cultivation, they behave like young maidens. Like buds just blooming, like flames burning, every movement is akin to goddesses scattering flowers, and their waist twists resemble dragons flying and phoenixes dancing. As the celestials of the 10,000-year world are all naked, their dance postures are particularly captivating, leaving endless afterthoughts, and every posture emits energy, presenting the delightful serenity of seclusion. The four male celestials, Danjing, Hanliang, Sangqin, and Qiantong, gradually enter the wonderland while admiring the dance, kneeling on the ground, and shedding tears of gratitude, as if riding the clouds and fog to the palace of bliss, or like a quiet and cold pool, motionless, with strands of energy swirling in their bodies. Waves of joy overwhelm every cell, beyond words. Come and chase me. Come and catch me. A clear and melodious shout and the subsequent laughter resounded on the grassland from far to near. Zigue and others stopped dancing and shaded their eyes with their hands and saw 6 beams of white light on the horizon in the distance approaching like lightning. Han Liang opened his throat and made a trumpet shape with his hands and shouted, "Hey! Please come here." Suddenly 6 beams of white light flew to them, it turned out to be 2 female celestials. Zigue took the lead in responding, "We come from Fengming Ridge of Hualing Mountain and are heading to Tongtian Peak of Moyan Mountain. When we passed by here and saw the picturesque scenery, we couldn't help but stop and be captivated. Brothers and sisters, what are you all doing here?" Upon learning that the 8 celestials were heading to Tongtian Peak, Saiying and the others realized that they had already attained the highest level of oneness with Tao achievable by a celestial in the 10,000-year world. A good karma was hard to find, Naji replied promptly, "We are 6 celestials from the Taiji Palace in Shaoxiang Ridge, Tiandan Mountain, which is 200 miles away from here at the end of the grassland. Today we came out to practice flying on the grasslands. Currently, we can only fly 8 feet above the ground. We are fortunate to meet esteemed celestials like you today. We hope you will stay at the Taiji Palace for a few days and impart your celestial teachings to us." As soon as Saiying finished speaking, she grabbed Zigue's hand and exclaimed, "You must come with us. You must." Zigue cast a loving glance at everyone and had already ascended 8 feet into the air, flying forward arm in arm with Saiying. The rest of the celestials joyfully took flight and followed suit. In the blink of an eye, 14 male and female celestial beings had already flown to the foot of Tiandan Mountain. Flying forward for 60 miles along the mountain's base, they arrived at Shaoxiang Ridge. Here clouds billowed and steamed, the purple mist lingering, the mountain flowers blooming, the fruits fragrant, and the clear stream rushing. 100 kinds of birds playing and chasing among the branches in the forest, the sound of water, the wind, the swaying of the branches and the graceful chirping of the birds merged into a symphony of heaven. Landing from the clouds, the celestials walked slowly up along a mountain path. Along the path, they saw little squirrels jumping among the branches, koala bears hugging the tree trunk and tilting their heads to watch, long-tailed monkeys hanging upside down on the branches and swinging, and elk drinking water leisurely in the mountain stream. After a while, the celestials came to Taiji Palace. Stood outside the gate of Taiji Palace, the breeze is gentle, cool, and refreshing, the scenery is beautiful, which nourishes the heart and pleases the eyes. The Taiji Palace is back to Xiaoxiang Mountain, facing the Natsang River, with the winding Tiandan Mountains on the left and the Yingxiao Pool on the right surrounded by mountains. It is truly a geomantic treasure land with the vermilion bird to the front, the black tortoise to the back, the azure dragon to the left, and the white tiger to the right. Especially the Natsang River, which is like a white-silver chain meandering and floating on the opposite vast Yanyuan plain, like a dragon moving vigorously, like a silver bridge hanging on the river. Sangqin couldn't help but praise sincerely, auspicious scene Xiaoxiang Ridge, geomantic treasure Taiji Palace, created by nature with extremely fine craftsmanship, blissful sensations arise on this fairy land. Everyone, please enter the Taiji Palace and rest for a while. Sijia greeted courteously. Zigui and others entered the Taiji Palace one after another. One could see that the Taiji Palace was as bright as day, and the 8 treasures of splendor glittered with soft light. There were 8 cushions in the center of the palace, which were placed according to the 8 directions of Qian, Kun, Sun, Dui, Zhen, Zhen, Li, Can, which are not only a place to rest, but also a place to practice. It turned out that there were also 8 male and female celestials living in this Taiji Palace. Besides Saiying, Dama, Sola, Jifan, Naji, Sijia, there are also Kunhi and Bairui. Looking at the expressions in the eyes of Zigui and the others, sensitive Dama immediately cleared their doubts. Kunhi and Bairui went to explore the mysterious gorge, and they will be back in a few days. The 8 treasures of splendor mentioned above consist of sunlight diamond, jadeite blue, agate jade, amethyst glaze, emerald, cat's eye yellow, olive red, and crystal rock. People who have read The 10,000-Year World know that the 10,000-year world is 16 times larger than the Earth, and there are 16 stars of different densities arranged equidistantly in the sky, which divides the 10,000-year world into 16 zones with different luminosity. One of the zones is the dark night zone, which is eternal night, and it is precisely this dark night zones that accommodates countless kinds of gemstones in various forms, and is shining in the dark night. Therefore, all the celestials of the 10,000-year world will come here to collect and carry gems in this zone to decorate the caves where they live. The gems can not only illuminate the caves, but also be absorbed essence from, and make the caves colorful and dreamy. The flight of more than 10,000 kilometers drained the vitality of Zigui and the other 7 celestials, necessitating an urgent replenishment of energy. Saiying and the other 5 celestials also felt fatigued. The 4 celestials Sola, Jifan, Naji, and Sijia walked out of the cave and picked some delicious peaches, delicate grapes, sweet melons, and moist stamens soon after. They presented these fruits respectfully to Zigui and the other 7 celestials. Zigui and the others looked at the melons and fruits and smiled. You can use it. We only need 8 cushions for a while. It turns out that the food of the celestials in the 10,000-year world varies according to the depth of their cultivation. Celestials who have just arrived need to eat hard fruits such as walnuts and dates, while those who have been there for over 10,000 years can eat soft fruits such as peaches and grapes. Celestials that are more than 20,000 years old do not eat fruits but only drink mineral-rich mountain spring water, while celestials over 30,000 years old no longer eat any tangible substances, but directly absorb the brilliance of the sun and moon, and the vital energy of heaven and earth. While Saiying, Dama, Swola, Jifan, Naji, and Sijia were eating fruits, they watched carefully as the 8 celestials took their seats on the cushions, in accordance with the 8 trigrams directions. The 4 male celestials Danjing, Hanliang, Sangqin, and Xiangtong sit on the location of Qian, Li, Sun and Zhen, and the 4 female celestials Zigui, Biao, Xiaoxia and Ishi sit on the direction of Dui, Zhen, Can and Kun. They were all sitting cross-legged with their left and right feet overlapped, and the female celestials folded their hands below their navel while the male celestials slightly bent his palms, placing them lightly on their knees with palms facing up. With their eyes and mouth closed, attention fixed, and breath regulated, they entered the state of fetal aspiration, looking like a sculpture. Internally, following their mind's guidance, a stream of essential qi entered their governing vessel through their Baihui, Sishinkang acupoints, going through and absorbed by the large intestine meridian of the hand Yangming, the small intestine meridian of the hand Taiyang, the triple energizer meridian of the hand Shaoyang, the stomach meridian of the foot Yangming, the bladder meridian of the foot Taiyang, and the gallbladder meridian of the foot Shaoyang, and the impure qi was expelled from their Shanyang, Shaochong, Jin, and Zutongu acupoints. Another stream of essential qi flowed from their Huiyin and Yongquan acupoints into their conception vessel, absorbing the essence and energy through the hand Taiyin lung meridian, hand Shaoyin heart meridian, hand Juyin pericardium meridian, foot Taiyin spleen meridian, foot Shaoyin kidney meridian, and foot Juyin liver meridian, and expelling impure qi from their Zhongchong, Shaoshang, Yinbai, etc. acupoints. At this moment, the energy from the confluence of the conception and governor vessel, Ren and Du meridians, converged and spouted from the 4 acupoints of Haiquan, Juchuan, Yuyue, and Jin, filling their mouths with saliva. The saliva continuously flowed through their esophagus into their abdomen, and in a short while, their dantian was filled with energy, their fatigue was gone, their spirit reappeared, and their light of nature was complete. The 8 celestials slowly opened their eyes, slightly parted their lips, deeply and slowly inhaled, then exhaled slowly, smiled, and stood up from the cushions. Saiying, Dama, Swola, Jifan, Naji, and Sijia watched closely, understanding the principle that eating qi makes one deity-like. Zigui and the other 7 celestials then explained in detail the principles and methods of eating qi. After a few days, the 8 celestials bid farewell to Saiying, Dama, Swola, Jifan, Naji, and Sijia, and ascended into the air from the Taiji Palace Gate, flying towards the Tongtian Peak in the Moyun Mountains. They flew over the Bixia Mountains, the Yuhua Mountains, the 800-mile Xiubo Lake, the 900-mile Seifiaqui Plain, the Celestial Fascinated Gorge, the Valley of 10,000 Birds, the surging Blue Nephrite River, and the Double Ocean River, and arrived at Qiandao Lake, which spans over 160,000 hectares, approximately 10,000 kilometers away from Tongtian Peak. The expansive lake, seen from high altitude, resembled a blue curtain adorned with emerald pearls, offering beautiful scenery with crystal clear, soft, shimmering waves, and presenting diverse and auspicious postures. Meanwhile, on an island called Coral Bamboo, 16 celestial beings were observed practicing walking on the lake's surface. Zigui and the others visited Coral Bamboo Island and demonstrated and explained the key points of walking on the water to the other celestials. Due to space limitations, the scene and plot are omitted. On this day, the 8 celestials flew to the Pure Bath Garden, which is only 100 kilometers away from the Tongtian Peak. It is the holiest place in the 10,000 years world, where peculiar avoidance of vulgarism trees grow, magical psychic flowers bloom, and magical upward flowing springs flow. The purple air on the ground is steaming, especially in a small and serene pool, its temperature changes wonderfully. It is sometimes scalding hot, sometimes bone-chilling, sometimes spewing, and sometimes quiet. Only those who have practiced for more than 30,000 years can enter the Pure Bath Garden, the holy place. Those who have not cultivated enough will feel a strong repulsive force when they come to the edge of the garden and will feel restless and uncomfortable all over. Those who have cultivated enough will feel a strong pulling force when they come to the edge of the garden, and will feel calm and refreshed, and their energy will increase significantly. Therefore, any celestial who wants to fly to the Tongtian Peak must come here to verify their own cultivation. Only those who can enter the Pure Bath Garden can fly to the Tongtian Peak. The 8 celestials came to the Pure Bath Garden, feeling completely relaxed and happy. They felt a pulling force on them and then smoothly entered it, details omitted. They bathed in the sacred pool, and after the bath, they thoroughly remolded and emitted an exotic fragrance. This fragrance was like sandalwood, tuberose, musk, jasmine, rose, geranium, cinnamon, lavender, but it was none of them. It penetrated the heart and lungs, drunk one's innermost, connect divinities, open Buddha eyes, lighten one's bones, and enhance their energy. The 8 celestials bathed in this fragrance and suddenly felt light and drifted straight up to 80,000 meters high, as if they were clouds blown by the wind, if not guided by intention. The 8 celestials wanted to go to Tongtian Peak, so in the blink of an eye, they had already floated to the sky-gazing cliff of Tongtian Peak. The sky-gazing cliff is a place where countless senior celestials rainbow over the ages. In the sky above the sky-gazing cliff, there is a pyramid tower made up of nearly 10,000 stars and planets. The tower is where universal energy converges and radiates onto the sky-gazing cliff. Being at the sky-gazing cliff, one can feel the energy overflowing throughout the body, incomparably comfortable. When the energy they absorbed is enough, the structure of their lifts undergoes a sudden mutation, and their Buddha eyes open, being able to see the mysteries of the universe. It is at this moment that many celestials who came to the sky-gazing cliff began to rainbow. Their entire body will transform into a green smoke and disperse, while the light of nature of their life will turn into a rainbow of 7 colors and fly toward the continent for 3 realms' lives to pass through at a lightning speed, and then go to other heavenly worlds. The 8 celestials, Zigui, Danjing, Biao, Xiaoxia, Hanliang, Sangqing, Ishi, and Qiantong, arrived at the sky-gazing cliff, as if they were in a void. They saw the blue waves of the Tsangting Sea are boundless and connecting the horizon, and the lofty Moyan mountain range extending far into the sky, and on the sky-gazing cliff, nearly 100 senior celestials had already arrived and were holding their breaths, concentrating, and receiving energy from the pyramid tower. Just as they were watching without knowing what to do, a celestial elder named Greeting Celestial appeared. He was specifically responsible for guiding the male and female celestials who flew to the sky-gazing cliff on how to absorb energy from the pyramid tower and then rainbow. The communication between the 8 celestials and the Greeting Celestial was not through language, but through symbols and telepathy, truly a same mind sensing each other. The 8 celestials quickly entered the state according to the guidance of the celestial elder. After an unknown amount of time, perhaps a moment, perhaps hundreds of years, when Danjing, Sangqing, and Ishi came back to their senses, Zigui, Biao, Xiaoxia, Hanliang, and Qiantong had disappeared. It turned out that the 5 celestials had already rainbowed and disappeared without a trace, while the remaining 3 still needed to continue cultivating in the 10,000-year world for some time. They were not worried and, following the guidance of the celestial elder, they flew to the Fairy Garden Canyon, where the ginseng fruit grows. To find out whether Danjing, Sangqing, and Ishi ate the ginseng fruit in the Fairy Garden Canyon and how they continued to cultivate, especially the cultivation of male-female dual cultivation without physical contact, interested readers can refer to A Second Glance at the 10,000-Year World. One day, and time mentioned in this article are purely for the sake of convenience in narration. In reality, the 10,000-year world does not have such a time concept. Please understand.